how you make a McLaren Senna look like a very practical family vehicle. You remove the roof and the windshield, and that leaves you with a McLaren Elva. The Elva is one of the newest members of the McLaren Ultimate Series. That's the top tier hypercar level McLarens. Started off with the P1, the P1 GTR, then we got the Senna GTR, we have the Speedtail and the Elva in the Ultimate Series. These vehicles are very, very expensive. They are very extreme in the way that they're designed to be, and they're just all really cool. Today we are at Kearns Motor Car in Wisconsin. These are actually part of a private collection. The Senna you see right there is for sale, but the two Elvas that we have here are part of a private collection on display here, and we have the really cool opportunity to get up close with two McLaren Elvas, check out the details, get on the inside, and we're going to talk about everything you need to know about the $1.7 million Elva. The Elva is based off of a carbon tub, just like all the other McLarens in the lineup. It has a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 mid-engine, just like most of the other upper-end McLarens in the lineup. It's not hybrid like the Speedtail or the P1. It makes 804 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. So that's a bit more power than the Senna. It has the same brakes and tires as the Senna, and it weighs less. This is the lightest road-going McLaren ever made at about 2,900 pounds, and naturally removing the roof and the windshield, you'll understand why it's a bit lighter. This is extreme, obviously. You cannot have a roof on this. There is the option to add a windshield. For certain jurisdictions, I believe there's requirements. You can't have a car without a windshield. So you could option it on there, but both of these do not have windshields. So you better wear a helmet with this. It actually comes with a helmet. This right here is the McLaren Elva helmet. It says McLaren on the back. It's a Bell Racing helmet with an Elva like etched on the side. It's really cool because even though this has the McLaren active air management system that has this panel that pops up, it's a carbon fiber panel, to kind of channel air and create this virtual bubble around your driver and passenger. That can only work up to a certain point, obviously. Physics will come in. If you're doing high speeds that a 800 horsepower McLaren can do, you want a helmet because getting hit in the face by a stone, a bug, or a bird probably won't be comfortable. So again, this is not really a practical vehicle. But the Elva wasn't designed to be practical. I mean, just look at it. They originally were going to build 399 of these. Then production was cut to 249, and officially final numbers as 149 Elvas. That's the maximum that we'll ever see. This green car right here is number 120 of 149, and I believe the color stream one there is 122 of 149, so they're serialized. There's a plate on the side, and it's just covered in carbon fiber. The paint is beautiful. So this one here is Napier green. We actually have the window sticker. The Elva starts at just under 1.7 million. You know, that makes actually the Senna look like a bargain. The Senna is right around $1 million. So 1.7 million before MSO options. And if you're familiar with MSO or any of these bespoke high-end programs, they get really expensive. It's not so much of can this be done as how much is it going to cost. This one actually, the Napier green, is reasonable at a sticker price of $1.777,666,000. The paint here is just under $20,000. The carbon fiber mirror caps here are just over $10,000, actually $11,000. There's a lot of MSO options on this here. The carbon fiber on the interior. So not a cheap car, but there are obviously 149 people in the world who are able to afford the latest of the McLaren hypercars. The Pacific Color Stream paint on that car over there is a $100,000 paint job. And when you see it in person, it makes sense. It's really challenging to capture in pictures or video. Like, it looks amazing. And something that Elva does really well is it really just blurs exterior and interior. So this entire front dash area is painted, body color painted. Same through the center console. It continues on in between the seats, on the doors too. So like the inside and outside of the car is all over the place. So you get this gorgeous exterior paint on the inside too. And then you get carbon fiber, and then you get leather. Like, this interior is really, really nice. McLaren paints are some of the best in the world. Their colors are fantastic. Napier green is one of my personal favorites. Papaya Spark looks awesome. All the volcano colors look amazing. So McLaren definitely knows how to do paint really, really well. So a couple talking points on the performance of the Elva and kind of its purpose. If we look at the other hypercars in the McLaren Ultimate Series, they have a pretty dedicated reason for existing. The P1 started it, the hybrid carbon tub. It made the hypercar a new generation. We have the P1, the LaFerrari, the 918, the hybrid hypercar trio. The Senna is clearly a track-focused monster. All the downforce, it's not the prettiest to look at, but it's functional and extremely capable. The GTR versions, the P1 GTR and Senna GTR, are even more insane track-focused. The Speedtail was a top speed car, 250 mile an hour top speed, 1,035 horsepower. That one is hybrid. It is probably the most extreme. Whereas the Elva here, the purpose I feel is just driving experience. I mean, you remove the division between you and the outside, removing the windshield, the roof. It's not practical. It doesn't have like the track capabilities of the Senna because you don't have the giant downforce wing. I feel like this is just the pure driving experience. Now, obviously, it's the middle of winter right now, and these are in the showroom, and we're not taking them out anymore. But this is just me drawing conjecture after driving some convertibles, which I guess sort of maybe relate to this. I'm just imagining this is like a 720S Spider that's even more extreme in every single way. Hopefully at some point in my life, I'll get to experience an Elva. But performance is definitely still there to befit an Ultimate Series car. 804 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, rear-wheel drive, extremely lightweight. 0 to 60 in well under 3 seconds. Still has a 7-speed dual clutch that's shared across the lineup. And it will do 0 to 124 miles an hour in 6.7 seconds. That is faster than the McLaren Senna. Without a roof or windshield, that has to be an insane experience. The styling of the Elva is also just eye-catching. In person, this thing looks so good. When it first launched and was announced and it was on social media and the pictures, I was like, what? Like, this is the most impractical, pointless car in the world. I know there are some very wealthy people who want to have this beautiful work of art, and there are a lot of these now. We'll talk a bit more of the different drop-top or roofless, windshield-less cars in a second. But I didn't love the way it looked initially. Seeing it in person, you appreciate the proportions, just the way the cockpit sits right there in the middle. It's amazing. Full carbon fiber body. This entire front clamshell is one gigantic piece of carbon fiber. It's 1.2 millimeters thick, and there's no body lines. There's no front quarter panel here. It all just flows. One huge piece of carbon fiber. This side body panel here, all the way back to the rear, that's all one giant piece of carbon fiber. It's like 10 feet long. The doors are all carbon fiber, and they weigh like nothing. Obviously, it's a McLaren, so the doors have to go up, and it's so light. And once you open the door, there's carbon fiber here on the inside. The door sill is carbon fiber, and it's very high and very wide. It's hard to get into. We'll hop in a second, but I already was sitting in there getting some video clips of it. Around back, the Elva's got this mesh finish, which the Artura is very clearly inspired by. The Artura is the upcoming hybridized McLaren. It's a 570 Sport Series, technically a replacement, and like the rear end styling with the kind of tail light shape, it's very similar to the Elva. Has a 3D printed exhaust, a big active wing out back. It's beautiful. I really like this. Weight saving measures are also a really funny thing. They went to great lengths on these vehicles. It's got the same brakes and tires as the Senna, so carbon ceramic brakes. It also has titanium caliber bolts that saves 1 kilogram across the entire car. 1 kilogram. It all adds up to matter. The Elva also has the option for 18 karat white gold or platinum badges. You can have an MSO 23 karat gold engine heat shield. These options just sound so ridiculous, but that's what this world of insane hypercars is like. Everything you see on this is like leather or metal or carbon fiber or painted body. Like, it's so amazing. It's really cool getting to see 2 Elvas. With 149 in the world, you're not going to see many at all, unless you're probably in Southern California, because probably 30% of them are over there. But to have 2 right here in the showroom is really cool. Kearns Motor Car has just crazy inventory. Again, these 2 are not for sale. The Senna is for sale, so if you're looking to buy a McLaren Senna, that one has a sticker price of just over $1 million. I think it's listed for 1.15. The Senna is very cool, but the fact that they have 2 Elvas here has kind of overshadowed it. I actually haven't really been paying much attention to the Senna, which feels like a really weird thing to say. I'm shooting the Napier green one right here because the lighting works better. The color stream on that one is also phenomenal. A lot of the things are shared that we're talking about with the specs and the powertrain and the interior and the details, but just the paint job on that car is something else. I've only ever seen one car in person that had a paint that was similar. It was a Aventador SV that had a similar kind of treatment, but every single angle and facet and just the way the light hits it, it looks different. And it works well on the Elva because everything is super smooth. There aren't hard angled chiseled lines. It's all just curving across here. Again, these giant solid pieces of carbon fiber. It's so epic. Let's now hop inside. We'll talk about some of the things they changed up in the interior and some of the details that I'm noticing on the inside of a $1.7 million McLaren Elva. The latch is on the inside. Well, I guess inside and outside are kind of blurred there. The door is so light. The sill is insanely wide on this car, and I obviously don't want to scratch any carbon fiber, paint, or leather, so it takes a little bit of acrobatics to get into an Elva. My i8 was challenging to get into because that also had a really wide sill and was pretty tall. This is even more difficult. You'd think that not having a roof would make it easier because you're not going to hit your head on it, but it also costs like 10 times as much. So I'm going to carefully maneuver my way into the Elva. Oh, this is so cool. This has 36 miles on it. This is brand new. Looking right at the center dash here, it's just a big screen, and it's got an Elva outline there. How do I close the door? That works, right? That's a handle. The interior is really minimalistic, but it's still really well done. I love seeing all the painted bodywork and then how it flows through the center console here. We've got the start-stop button, drive, neutral, reverse. The infotainment screen is mounted on this little arm that comes out and it's angled towards me as the driver. This is supposed to be a newer, better infotainment system, which is needed because if you look at a 12-seat like Gen 1 Iris, that was rough. That was not the best system out there. Carbon fiber paddles on the steering wheel have the Napier green accents too. This looks like the same wheel that you would find on a 720S, and there's nothing on the wheel, just paddle shifters. I've always loved with McLarens the paddle shifters on like a rocker system. So you can pull the right paddle for an upshift, or you can push it for a downshift and so forth. So you can really shift it with one hand. And it's nice that the steering wheel is not super busy. You look at a Ferrari, it's like everything is on the steering wheel. This one is just about the driving. The active panel has also moved now. So they're on the instrument cluster here, so you can access them without taking your hands off the steering wheel. It's not in the middle like you'd see on some of the other McLarens there. And then that's pretty much it. We do have a cup holder. There's a cup holder in the middle of the McLaren Elva. So that's it's all carbon fiber too. Oh my God. This cup holder made of carbon fiber probably costs more than my entire car. Across the dashboard, carbon fiber. You can see carbon fiber on the doors, coming down the entire tub, also on the floor. This one does have the floor mats. There's an Elva script that matches the paint right above the passenger. I don't know if this probably doesn't have a glove box. I think it's just all carbon fiber. There's these little like Alcantara outcroppings, which I don't know what they are. The seats are actually pretty comfortable. I feel like I fit really well. I'm 6'3", so sometimes headroom is a problem in higher end sports cars, supercars. Like in an Aventador, I'm kind of like scrunched down trying to see traffic lights and things like that, but headroom is not an issue whatsoever, and I'm pretty comfortable in this. But the view out is just so crazy. Like the side view mirrors, they got like a swoopy shape to them, and there's nothing, just wide open. There's this little vestigial looking rear view mirror, which from my angle, my height, doesn't do anything. It's reflecting the dashboard. So I don't know if that's adjustable or not. It's all the way out there. Wow. I cannot even imagine what this would be like on the road. This has got to be a crazy experience. So the Elva doesn't have a sound system as standard, which makes sense because I don't know what you'd be able to hear at speed. Maybe when you're sitting at a stoplight, you can hear your music, but above like 45 miles an hour, I'm not sure you'd hear anything other than wind noise. And when I say it's not practical, it's not practical. There is no front trunk because that's where the active air management system panel goes up. There was supposed to be space in the back where you can put like a helmet, and then there is a cup holder, but there's like really no other storage space. So this really does make a 720S or a Senna or a P1 look like a very practical choice for taking your family on a road trip or something, because this is impractical, and that's kind of what makes it so cool. It has no purpose or no reason to exist beyond just driving enjoyment and being a piece of engineering art. And that's the whole reason for it to exist, which at a certain point, I think that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. So we do have a couple of these roofless, windshieldless, limited edition hypercars now. The Ferrari Monza is one of the first ones that comes to mind. The SP1 and SP2, those were limited to 499, I believe, allegedly, given Ferrari's limitation numbers. So that's a lot more. Actually, that's more than three times as common as an Elva. But those were SP1 or SP2. SP2, if you have friends with two-seater. SP1 is for the Monza owners who don't have any friends and just want to drive by themselves. Bentley did build, or they're maybe building this Bacalar concept that's super limited, like they're building 12 or something. Aston Martin did a Speedster V12, has the 5.2-liter twin-turbo V12. They're building 88 of those. And then if you go even further back, there was the Sterling Moss, the Mercedes SLR. That was probably earlier roofless car that I could think about. And then Lamborghini has built two one-offs. The Aventador J and then the SC20 are both bespoke one-off kind of speedster type of things. You can buy a Porsche Speedster, which is actually compared to an Elva, a Speedster is common, which is a crazy statement because Speedsters are very, very rare. But the Elva really does sit in this niche of this hypercar, roofless, windshieldless, just really, really cool vehicle. This is an awesome experience. Thanks so much to Austin and the Kearns Motor Car team. I mean, this is their showroom here. I'll have another video vlogging, showing you the other details and the crazy cars they have in inventory. Again, this Elva and the Colorstream Elva are not for sale. They're not in inventory. They're personal collection cars, just having them here on display. This is the McLaren hypercar lineup right now. You got Elva, Senna, Elva. And I'm telling you, I haven't been paying attention to the Senna. I didn't bother sitting in the Senna yet, because I'm looking at the Elvas, because they are just so extreme. And these two are gorgeous specs. Napier green is one of the coolest colors, in my opinion, out there. Supercars should look like Skittles. Pacific Colorstream is a whole other ball game. It's obviously much more expensive. That paint is, you could say, 5 times as expensive as Napier green. The paint on that car is almost the price of my R8. That's an entire car, yeah. So that one is also a really crazy spec. This is just really cool getting to see these in person. Make sure you check out the other kind of walk around vlog showing you some of the other cool cars in inventory, and we'll get more of the up close details of everything here too. Also check out Kearns on Instagram, Facebook, and if you're looking for a car in Wisconsin, definitely check them out because their inventory is unbelievable. And it's not just all hypercars. If you're shopping for something that's not a McLaren Senna, you can come here too, because I'm looking at Audi RS5s, M5s, there's F-150s, a couple G-Wagons out there, an M8 competition, RSQ8, yeah. This was worth a drive up here. Hope you guys enjoyed this overview and details video on the McLaren Elva. I certainly enjoyed checking this vehicle out and talking about it. Thanks for watching. Now we're done filming. Time to watch me try to get out of this car gracefully, which is not always an easy task. I'm gonna okay, lever myself up. What? There we go. I did it.